In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your vocals sound like Chainsmokers closer using just Logic stock plugins. Now, before I get into showing you how to make it, let's just take a quick listen to the track.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can't afford. Bite that tattoo on your shoulder, pull the sheets right off the corner of the mat.
You get the idea. Okay, so firstly, to break down the vocal chain in its essence, let's have a quick listen to the dry vocal by itself, and then I'm going to explain to you each plugin that has been added and which purpose it provides to get the final outcome that we want. So this is the dry vocal.
I know it breaks your heart. Moved to the city in a broke down car and 4 years no calls. Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar and
So again, it's just a very clean recording. As I always say in these videos, one of the most fundamental parts when you're recording vocals is to make sure you get a good crisp recording. If your vocals are very boxy, you're going to need to apply EQ, or if your vocals too bright, again, but I will show you in a second how you can combat that. But the first thing that we always apply, because it's a very commercial pop sound, this very processed, so we're going to start with pitch correction. And again, if you're doing this to one of your songs, make sure it's to the key of the song that you are producing in. But the key of this song was in A flat major, so I've tuned to A flat major with a response time of 14.8 milliseconds. This is very fast, so you really hear the pitch correction in action.
no calls. Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar and I can't stop.
But again, it does add to the kind of characteristic that you hear in the original mix. Now, again, we want this to be very polished, commercial pop, very processed. So we're actually adding a noise gate. The threshold is about -40 and the reduction is -8 dB. So you can hear this really come into action as soon as, in this case, I stop singing.
No, I can't stop.
Okay, and then now we get on to the EQing. So as I said earlier in this video, it really matters to have a clean recording. This, if you get a very clean recording, is what it kind of looks like for the EQ, because you really want to increase the brightness, the airiness. You want to get rid of some of the unwanted noise in the low end, because there's a lot that we want to get rid of in terms of the boxiness, the muddiness, because again, we want a clean pop vocal. So we're doing a cut around 250 and then another dB like reduction around -1 dB as well. And then obviously we're completely cutting out everything below 90 hertz. Now we're having a boost around 6K to really bring in that kind of like the bright crispness of the vocal, and 12K for that kind of airy breathiness. But if you're someone who records vocal and it comes out very boxy, what you can do to combat the boxiness is to turn down the 500 hertz a little bit more. This will get rid of some of that boxiness for you. And again, if you record in a condenser microphone, maybe it's too harsh, too bright, you can just leave these at 0 dBs, or if anything, if it's very harsh, you can actually turn down the 12,000 hertz until it sounds a lot better, basically, and it doesn't sound as harsh. That's the very simple way of explaining how to combat that. Because once we've got the EQ sounding how we want it to, we can then start compressing the vocal, which you kind of need a decent-ish sounding vocal sonically. So the first compressor we got in series is the Studio FET. This has a real nice rich low end to it, which is why I love to use it, especially for like pop music, because we've already done the job of cutting out all the muddiness. So now we have the confidence to be able to add a thick saturated sounding compressor like the Studio FET and not have vocals getting too muddy in the mix. So we've got a makeup gain of about -7, ratio of 4:1, threshold is about 25 to about 12 o'clock, fast attack, medium to fast release, and when you add it, it sounds like this.
I can't stop. No, I can't stop.
So again, it's slow starting to come together, but there's a lot more we need to do to vocal, obviously. So we're adding another compressor in series, because then this is really helping to slowly decrease the dynamic range, but not doing it so aggressively that the track sounds overly compressed. Kind of like staging it in the terms of the compressor sounding two next to each other means we can control it a lot more. Try and keep that natural yet compressed sound. We don't want to over compress stuff. So we've only got a 2:1 ratio on the vintage Opto compressor. So that's a really nice color to the vocals. And again, we've got medium to fast attack and release. The release is on auto. And it just adds that little bit extra.
I can't stop.
So this is without.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover.
So you can hear it slowly starting to get that very crisp vocal sound. Now, a couple of things we need to do. Add a de-esser just to try and control the sibilance, because again, there's a lot of high end that we have been boosting throughout so far. And then once we've got the de-esser on, we can then apply the exciter, because again, we're dealing with the high end again, trying to really bring out the crispness, as I keep calling it, of this pop vocal. Around 7 kilohertz is where we want the exciter to be in action, and we want it about 15%. And we can then go to our multipressor. Again, pop music, pop songs, very compressed, so we're just going to try and control all of these different areas. The only thing I've really done is I've set the compression threshold to -25, and we just got a 2 dB gain reduction across the board, and just watching the multipressor just do its job when one part of the band just tends to get a little bit too much. This is just for overall control of the dynamics. Let's see this in action.
And 4 years, no calls. Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar, and I can't stop.
So you can see it's mainly controlling the midness and boxiness. So, but it really helps just clean up the vocal that little bit more. Just a lightly applying the multipressor. Don't get too aggressive with it, because that's how we can lose control of the sound of the vocal. Then an adaptive limiter at the end, just to control the more effort filled vocals, like when it gets to the chorus, and maybe when like there's more power put into the vocal performance. The adaptive limiter just controls that, gives us headroom when we're applying the following bus sends. So the first bus send we've got is bus 1, and we are using our vocal plate from Space Designer with 1.4 seconds of decay, and it's applied roughly about, I think it's like -16 dB has been applied, and it sounds like this.
Pretty in a hotel bar, and I can't stop. No, I can't stop.
And then we're gonna next in the chain of the bus 2, new bus send, we're gonna add stereo delay to get this really nice sort of like stereo sounding like ping pong effect going on in the vocals. Makes the vocals sound a lot wider.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your...
This is just 20% feedback. Left ear is 1.8, and then the right ear 1.4. Just creates a little bit more movement, but also makes the vocal sound a lot more spread across the mix. That's with the effect we're trying to achieve, that essentially. Bus 3, with then having what I like to call some sort of like a proper ping pong delay. So it's 1.4, 1.4 each side, 80% feedback. Now this is really going to fill the vocals out now in the mix.
Car and 4 years, no calls. Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar, and I can't stop.
Again, this is just really complementing the sort of effects that you're actually hearing in the closer song, because like there's a lot of like slapback you can hear from the delay. It really helps for the production, especially when it's getting close to the chorus, when you can really hear that kind of ambience. And then on top of that, then we just need to make sure we're applying some parallel compression, which we've done in the form of the Studio FET. This was always going to be the compressor of choice, especially for this kind of pop music. And we got the makeup gain of -10, a ratio of 20, really aggressive applying, and the threshold of -40, really fast stack, really fast release. Now again, the reason with parallel compression is you want to have it to make the vocal sound thicker and to like stand out more in the mix. So you really want to blend the overly compressed signal of the parallel compression with the current dry signal we've got. Find a nice balance. This one is not one of them things where you've got to really say, oh, you've always got to adjust the bus center such and such. It's whatever sounds good at this point. So we'll put the instrumental back in play, and then I've turned the parallel compression off so you can hear it before, and then I'll play you after to show the difference it makes.
No calls. Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar, and I can't stop. No,
Because not only does it do a volume jump, which is the most obvious thing you hear, but it also makes the vocals just sound a little bit clearer and a little bit more, I would say smooth is a better word than thicker to use. But parallel compression is really good, especially in pop music. Really helps bring the vocal into the mix, as I best describe it as. So then for bus 5, we have a sample delay ensemble and a channel EQ. Now this is really what I call a micro width for the vocal. So essentially we've got a sample delay at 18. On the right side, we've got ensemble, which is 15% output mix, with a channel EQ just focusing on anything above 350 Hz. It's a very subtle, and I recommend you wear headphones to this. Again, this is just one of the things to help spread the vocal a little bit more, so it sounds a little bit more at the forefront of the mix. I'll do it before and after. This one, you really have to listen hard to notice the difference, but it's one of them things where you don't hear it, but you feel it.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know.
best thing I describe it as, it just feels like there's a little bit of a release at the sides of the mix where it feels like the vocal just kind of settles in. And that's why I like to do that kind of thing. It's just a really nice little chain to do. And then the last send that I've done is a kind of like a pop-centric one where it's really focusing on the high end again, getting that nice gloss. We got an exciter, a channel EQ, and a compressor. The compressor is just to help control the dynamics of this, but essentially everything under 5,000 hertz we're just getting rid of. An exciter just to focus on the high end with a 20% on there, and it's basically just, if I play this by itself, you can hear exactly what this chain is doing. It's just the crispness and the high end, just adding a little bit extra, which just gives the final lift. Let's have a listen to before and after.
On your shoulder, pull the sheets right off the corner of the...
It's that nice little gloss above 8K. It just helps really bring the pop vocal into its own. And then obviously for harmonies, there is lead doubles left and right, singing the exact same thing. I've used Logic's Time Flex. There's a feature that you can use. If you go over to the side of the mix, you click the right click and you go configure track header. You can do groove track. And once you do that, a star comes up. So if you click to star the lead vocal, you can then tick every other channel. So like I've got these double takes, but then I've also got octave double takes, and this basically aligns the vocals with the lead vocal. And we really want to make sure we do that because pop music is meant to be tight. So we've got these two lead doubles here, which is the same settings that we described, but pan left and right just to 10.
I know it breaks your heart. Moved to the city in a broke down car, and 4 years no calls. Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar, and
And the last thing we need to do is, again, when it gets to the kind of like the pre-drop, there's some octave vocals in there, which again, this is when you're just like going for that Chainsmokers style sound. We've already done lead vocal. This is just a bit extra for the pre-choruses and the build up to the chorus. Just record it octave higher, or if you want to, you can record again at the same and then just pitch this up by 12 semitones. When you add in the chorus doubles, it sounds like this. The only thing I have done to chorus doubles, instead of panning left and right, I've used a sample delay, about 500 milliseconds to the left, and then in the right one, again, another sample delay, and that one's panned to the right. And it basically, it kind of it does the effect of doubling up the vocal while also panning it to the sides of the mix, and it sounds something like this.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can afford. Bite that tattoo.
If you want this vocal chain for your mixes, I actually have this available in my store at the moment. Now, if you download this, you also get a tutorial video as well on how to apply this template to existing production. So if you've got tracks you're working on, you want to drop the vocal chain straight in, there's a tutorial on how to do that inside. And if you're interested in any other artist Logic Pro X vocal chains, I've got several more in my store that you can check out after this video. Thanks for watching the end. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next video.